Hey, everybody. My name is Barry Kleiman, and I want to do my level best to explain why I decided to get involved and build this site, this community, and this mentality that I hope to get across in the From Asbury Park uh, um, domain world. Every single one of you, almost anybody who comes onto this thing will have some attachment to it by the name, a name of a town that Bruce Springsteen certainly made famous. I've never met Bruce. There's a picture behind me of Bruce and an artist named Greg Kinn. I've known Greg. I knew Greg for years. My wife worked with Greg. I never met Greg. That was somewhere 100 years ago. But I did this because I do, as I just say, want to honor and remember the places, the faces, and the names. I have my own Bruce Springsteen story, which I'm sure that each of us does. And what I like to say is, I'm not the world's biggest Bruce Springsteen fan, you are. I'll tell you my story in a minute, but for right now, what I wanted to explain is why I decided to do this right now. This book, I have now listened to it a minimum on Audible, a minimum of 6, if not 7 times, maybe more. I don't know. My wife read it, the hard copy. It's an astounding book. I wrote a book some time ago actually just about a year ago, called The Playground Principles. I've been on multiple podcasts about it. And somebody said, gee, Barry, that's one of the best books I ever heard on connection. And I said, no, Teresa, I'm sorry. Born to Run is the best book I've ever read about connection, human connection. I believe that connection is currency. And Bruce has certainly proven that. And I believe connection with self is oxygen. And in this book, I don't even want to just be like a crazy fan. Again, there are many, many bigger fans than I am. I'm about connection. And again, first connecting with ourselves. That's what the Playground Principles is about. If you were to read this book, I'm going to put a link up in the notes to get it, Audible, whatever you want to do. But this gentleman dove so deeply into his life, his fame, his fumbles, his foibles, his issues, his depression, and so forth. And I just found it incredible and incredibly important. I help people write what I call a book of you. Another story for another day. But this is oh God, I don't know, it's a 600 and some odd page book. I'm sorry, 500-page book. And this is the last chapter. I wanted to read from it. Bruce quotes a couple songs, and he says, "My Father's House is probably the best song I've written about my dad, but its conclusion wasn't going to be enough for me. In A Long Time Coming," which is a song I have some history with, "I lay out the wish I had had for my children. We honor our parents, not by accepting as the final equation the most troubling characteristics of our relationship. I decided between my father and me, the sum of our troubles would not be the summation of our lives together. This is important. In analysis, you work to turn the ghosts that haunt you into the ancestors who accompany you. That takes hard work. We all have ghosts. And again, I'm reading this because it resonated with me. I'm going to imagine it resonates with a lot of us. It takes hard work and a lot of love, but it's the way we lessen our burdens our children have to carry, insisting on our own experience, our own final calculus of love, trouble, hard times, and if we're lucky, a little bit of transcendence. Again, very much, I do hope what I'm able to bring here is some transcendence, even if just for myself, but I hope for anybody who's welcome and willing to come on to the podcast. This is how we claim our own lives as sons, as daughters, as independent souls on our own piece of ground. It's not always an option. There are irretrievable lives and unredeemable sins. But the chance to rise above is one I wish for yours and mine. I work to be an ancestor. I hope my summation will be written by my sons and daughters with our family's help, and their sons and daughters with their guidance. Again, this is just so important to me, and I hope to you this is what From Asbury Park is all about. The morning of my dad's visit to Los Angeles before fatherhood now stands as a pivotal moment between us. He had come to petition me to settle a new sum from the dark and confusing elements that had been our lives. He had some faith that it could be done. Came searching for a miracle whose embers he felt sitting in his own heart and that he hoped was burning and burning somewhere in my heart. He was asking me to write a new ending to our story. And I've worked to do that. But this kind of story has no end. It's simply told in your own blood until it's passed along to be told in the blood of those you love, who inherit it. As it's told, it's altered. All stories are in the telling by time, will, perception, faith, love, work, by hope, deceit, imagination, fear, history, will, perception, faith, love, work, and 1,000 other variable powers that play upon us and our personal narratives. It continues to be told because along the seat of our own immolation, the stories carry with us a rebirthing seed of renewal, a different destiny for those who hear it than the painful one my father and I struggle with. Slowly, a new story emerges from the old of differently realized lives. This is what life is, the possibility of finding root and safety. I'm going to jump to the last paragraph here. I fought my whole life, studied, played, worked, because I wanted to hear and know the whole story, my story, our story, and understand as much as I possibly could. I wanted to understand in order to free myself of the most damaging influence, its malevolent forces, to celebrate and honor its beauty, its power, and to be able to tell it well to my friends, my family, and to you. I don't know if I've done this in this book, and the devil was always just a day away, but I know this was my promise to myself and to you. This I pursued as my own service. This I presented in my long and noisy prayer, my magic trick, hoping it would rock your very soul and then pass on, its spirit rendered, to be read, heard, sung, and altered by you, your blood, that it might strengthen and help you make sense of your own story. Now go tell it. Now, I apologize if that was long, but ultimately, it's that last line. Bruce was hopeful that what he did here would inspire you to make sense of your own story and then go tell it. What From Asbury Park is about is to build a community of people willing to dig deeply down on themselves, take some Bruce moments or any moments. Mine, of course, are Bruce moments. But I've written about it in another book. And my hope is that I can garner enough people to come on and share their own stories with me on this podcast, and that we could create a community in and of itself of people who are willing to get the heart, get the soul, as Bruce sung about. The places, the faces, the name. There's got to be a song or something that started your transcendence into your own mind and your own life. And I'll leave this opening podcast episode with my own story about Bruce. I was 28 years old. Again, I'm from Philadelphia, in case you can't tell, but I live here in the Bay Area now. And my wife, like I said, worked for a record company, worked for Berserkly Records. And we were fortunate enough. Bruce came to town. I'd never seen him before, even though I lived on the East Coast in New York while he was coming up. And he performed at the Berkeley Community Theater. I was a self-avowed deadhead. I proposed to my wife at the closing of the Winterland in 1978, 79. So I didn't really know what to expect. I liked Born to Run, the song. And then all of a sudden, we're sitting here like on the second row of the Berkeley Community Theater, this charming little place on the campus of Berkeley High School. And all of a sudden, I heard the drums, the thundering drums opening of Badlands, and the chords. And all of a sudden, from stage left, there's in the true story, a flash. This dude comes sliding across the floor on his knees, bent over backwards, strumming these thundering opening chords to Max's drums. And I said, "What is this?" I had no idea what to expect, but from that moment on, I was hooked because I saw the passion and the heart and the soul and what it meant to this person to be so engaged. I didn't know any of this. I didn't know about his depression and his father foibles or anything of that kind. I do now. I have my own kids. I have grandkids. This is important. This level of connection is so important. And so I think if we can all connect with ourselves and find a way to make some sense out of the world as it is today, and maybe make a connection with another fan in your city, in your town, or online, or whatever it is, then I would have done a job well, or reasonable, at least reasonably well, of connecting people. Again, nothing matters more to me than connection. I think we've lost it. It's what my book, The Playground Principles, is about. So along the way, I said I have two kids of my own and four grandkids. My son's middle name is Boss, Benjamin Boss Klein. Couldn't help myself. My wife and I sat and thought about what are we going to name our kids, and that middle name just came out. And now, as a young 40-year-old man, he's thrilled. He's a fan. We all have these stories, and again, as Bruce said, I'm hoping I can coerce people to come on and tell your own. I set up a little merch store with very simple. I'm not trying to combat the Bruce Springsteen concert shirts. They're very simple. They're almost like a secret handshake. If you see them and you see somebody wearing them, you're going, I get you. I know you. Because they're simple. They're character names, the places, the names, the faces, the places, the names. So that's it. That's my story. Maybe, as Bruce said, my magic trick, I hope, From Asbury Park becomes a little bit of a magic trick of connection. This is not about me. You're the biggest Bruce Springsteen in the world, not me. But I do want to hear your story and how it came to that. And along the way, I hope y'all stay safe and be well. And thank you so much for hopping on this initial episode of From Asbury Park. The places, the faces, the names. Remember and honor them. Stay safe, everybody.